What is going on YouTube? Mego here with you, and I'm bringing you my week 1 of the PMC. We are up against Dpad Gam3r and the Orlando City Serperiors. Now, unfortunately, due to Dpad being away, we did have to play this battle on Showdown, and yeah, kinda sucks since this is a Wi-Fi league, but you know, sometimes life happens and we gotta just adjust to it. But I was a little bummed to have to play Showdown again. I was kind of looking forward to a Wi-Fi battle, but it's okay because I haven't beat my game yet, so I don't have everything available to me. So yeah, hopefully by week 2 I'll have everything beaten and I can actually use my Mega if I want to. But yeah, let's go into the team builder really quickly. I didn't have a chance to. Well, I did record my team builder, but unfortunately my new computer, I didn't have a chance to adjust all my settings on it, and it did not turn out great for everything here. So yeah, let's just go over this really quick. First off, we have our Adamant Choice Banded Entei. Really, I wanted to leave the mons as close to I would as on the Wi-Fi ones, so I didn't make him timid or anything. I made him completely adamant and he's shiny. Just this way at least it could be a little fair, and honestly, who doesn't run the extreme speed Entei? It's really what everyone runs on there. But yeah, he's rocking the choice band, 252 attack, 4 special defense and 252 speed. He really just puts in a lot of work on Dpad's team with everything except the what's it called? The Tapu Fini and Flygon. It can basically, if there's any damage on the other mons, it'll OHKO them with a hit if there's any damage on them at all. I think the highest resist one apart from those two is the what's it called? The Umbreon, which I believe it takes about 88% from a Flare Blitz with this set, so yeah, definitely an important mon. More than likely this is going to be my win condition of the game, but yeah. Moving on, next up I do have my Assault Vested Raikou, rocking Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Hidden Power Fire, and Extra Sensory. Extra Sensory I kind of just have on there for fun. I like having a Psychic type move. You never know when it'll be useful, and it also, this allows me to not only hit the Mega Scizor, or not the Mega Scizor, the Scizor as well, but actually hit the Flygon with something for some decent damage. So yep, making him a timid nature, of course, with 4 HP, I mean not HP, 252 special attack, 4 special defense, and 252 in speed. That Assault Vest makes it so I don't really have to invest any more on this. I could actually put this into HP if I wanted to, but I feel like this was a pretty decent set to go with this week. Next up we have our Z Captain Mimikyu, rocking Bulk Up, Play Rough, Shadow Sneak, and Pain Split. Now, I do like going for the Z Bulk Up. It adds a +2 in attack and a +1 in defense, so I actually think that it's a really good mon. The only move I was actually debating on here was the Pain Split. I don't ever think I'll ever actually get the chance to use it, so it'd probably be better to go for something like Substitute with it, but I'll rock it this week and see how it's going on there. Okay, so next up, 252 in attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed, rocking a Jolly Nature, of course. With the boost from Bulk Up, it'll actually be a pretty formidable mon there. Next up we have Lantern, 252 in HP, 252 defense, 4 special attack with a Bold Nature, Volt Absorb, Leftovers, and I'm actually rocking Scald, Discharge, Toxic, and Icy Wind, so this thing is made to just be a pain. Discharge is a really underrated move and more people should use it. It has the same chance to paralyze as Scald does to burn, so 1 out of 3 basically. Then Icy Wind, of course, you know, I love my Icy Winds to slow down my opponents, and Toxics just in case I get stuck in a battle with something that I don't want to, that will stall me out otherwise. So yeah, the only thing I can see me stalling me is that Umbreon, but I think we can take it on pretty okay. Next up, I have my Choice Scarf Noivern, rocking Draco Meteor, Hurricane, Flamethrower, and U-Turn. That's basically there just to get that initiative. I really don't care for the attack damage that it does. I just want that initiative on there. But it has 252 in special attack, 4 in special defense, and 252 in speed with a modest nature. I just want this thing to hit as hard as it can, really. And so I am going for broke with the attacks. I'm going with Draco Meteor, Hurricane, and then Flamethrower. I do need that fire typing just in case my Entei goes down and he has that Scizor still. It's just something that I need on there. And last but definitely not least, I have my Donphan, who's rocking the Lumberry with Sturdy, Play Rough, Ice Shard, Knockoff, and Earthquake. Yeah, I decided to go with the Lumberry because I feel like he's going to be going for Toxics and stuff with that Umbreon, and I don't want my entire team getting Toxic. Then after a couple Play Roughs, this thing can, depending on what set he has, it can do about, I think, 45% damage to it. About, maybe a little bit less, so it'll definitely be good. Then Ice Shard, obviously, Knockoff, and Earthquake, pretty standard on a Donphan, but 248 HP, 252 attack, and 4 special defense with an adamant nature. Alright, well that's it for the team building aspect of it. I'm sorry I couldn't go more in depth, but let's go ahead and jump right into the battle now. So yeah, here you can see, again, I do apologize for having to be on Showdown. It's just what it needed to be this week, but next week we'll be back on Wi-Fi's, hopefully. But yeah, he did bring his Mega Manectric, his Umbreon, his Scizor, Swellow, Darmanitan, and Flygon, so pretty good team overall. I'm pretty sure that this is not what he was expecting me to bring based on the team that he brought, so yep, again, if you just saw the team builder, so I don't need to explain what I brought again. So let's go ahead and start. I do lead out with Noivern just to get that switch initiative on here, as he leads out with Swallow his Dialga his Swallow. It's fine since he withdraws and I just get that free U-turn off on this Umbreon here, as I'm actually going to switch into my Mimikyu and try to get that damage off on it. Yeah, so unfortunately here I do miss that Play Rough. It sucks completely. It would have done some decent damage to this. I don't remember how much I calced it to do, but he gets a free Toxic off basically, and we're kind of sitting at a bad spot right now. We're gonna lose Mimikyu, it's just what it is. So he withdraws and goes into Darmanitan. I decided to just go in there and go ahead and go for that bulk up. It'll just at least give me a nice little attack that I can give out 1 or 2 attacks. So, yep, I hit the second Play Rough, thankfully. Does 50% to this thing and drops its attack. But it's not gonna matter, the disguise is broken, and at this point Mimikyu is gonna go down. Like, even if I switched it out, there was nothing that I could really do to it anymore. Setting up would take too long, and then it didn't have its disguise anymore, so yeah, it sucks, but oh well. Shadow Sneaked it because he was obviously going to go for a Bullet Punch with this Scizor. Yeah, if he had set up, that would have been a little bit of a problem for me, but luckily Entei can handle this thing all day long, as I do just go for that Sacred Fire. It's going to hurt anything on his team no matter what, as he goes into the Darmanitan hoping to resist it, but you can see it one-shotted it easily from that range. Yeah, and here he goes into his Umbreon. Now this is the one thing I could not OHKO, especially with a Sacred Fire, So I do have to withdraw again, and fully expecting the Toxic, I go into the Donphan, which is what he did. Yeah, so now it's just going to be a matter of if I can get any damage off on this thing before Donphan dies to another Toxic poisoning. So I'm just going to go for the play roughs. So it does about 44%, so I don't think he's fully invested in defense on here, but that's fine by me because I believe that we actually get some damage off. So yeah, right now it's just kind of him stalling, and he goes for a foul play there, which was really interesting. I guess there was no point in going for a Moonlight, but here at this point, he can either go for a foul play and keep the damage on there, but he does go for the Moonlight to restore his HP now. If I had missed this play rough, I would have been in a much worse situation, but luckily I did hit it, and unfortunately Donphan does go down, and right now we're down 2-1, but from this range, Entei can Oko this thing again, so, which is exactly what I'm going to do actually. I don't mind taking that damage at all. It's, in my opinion, it's worth it to take that damage. So he goes out into Diamond his Flygon. We've gotten rid of 2 big threats, but I'm just going to switch out here because I don't want Entei going down. So I'm going to pause it really quick. So I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh, well, let's see. He's probably going to go for Earthquake or some rock type, ground type move since Entei is weak to it. Let's go into Lantern. It's part water, so it resists it, right? No. I completely forgot that Earthquake is super effective against Lantern, which really, that's my mistake on there. It kind of pisses me off that I made that easy mistake there of thinking that it was resistant to Earthquake, but that basically made my Lantern useless for the rest of this match here. I actually didn't see the Life Orb when we were battling. I thought it was Scarfed for some reason, so I was scared, but I did switch out into Noivern just because I thought he was Scarfed. So yeah, that could have been a really bad play on my part if he hadn't been Scarfed, but he switched out, which completely made me think that he was Scarfed still. And my dog's barking, but that's okay. But as he goes into his Scizor, I do want to withdraw Noivern, just because it can potentially take the win depending on what happens. And plus the Scizor can't touch Entei, like that does 17%. So here I am just free to go for attacks. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about it right now. So there goes the Scizor, another really big threat gone. As he goes into his Manectric, that he's going to evolve into his Mega Manectric. I did switch out into Lantern just in case he wanted to go for a Thunderbolt. Maybe I could get, or a Volt Switch, maybe I could get some actual HP back on this thing. But he went for the safe Flamethrower just to try to get this out of here. He didn't want this recovering any HP really. And the second Flamethrower does take us out, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. Not gonna lie about it, it kind of sucks on there, but yeah. Raikou is meant to take this thing on like a champ on here. So now he does go for the Volt Switch on here, which you can see does nothing with that Assault Vest, but here's where that extra sensory came in handy, because he was probably expecting a Thunderbolt or something, but that extra sensory does a lot of damage to that thing, to the point where I can actually kill it with Entei. Yeah, the extra sensory does about 38% to this Manectric as well, and he just goes for the Flamethrower, I guess scouting, trying to get some damage off on this. I went for the Thunderbolt. It was kind of just one of those things where I was like, well, it'll still hit, and maybe he'll go for one of his other into one of his other mons, but he didn't. He stayed in with it. So I just went, after that I went for the extra sensory just to be on the safe side. And we actually outspeed the Flygon. That wasn't something I was expecting. It does take us out with Earthquake, and right there is where I saw that he was actually, what's it called? Life Orbed. So at this point I knew that I had the battle won. Entei took it out with extreme speed and basically takes Swellow out, and the only way he would have outsped Noivern was if he had a agility Swellow, which I don't think I've seen people use. And yeah, unfortunately it doesn't take out the Swellow with the extreme speed, but it does take itself out with Brave Bird, unfortunately taking out Entei in the process. But we win a nice little 1-0 to start out the season. I don't think I've ever started out a season winning, so this is actually a first for me. But good game to Dpad. There were some definite mistakes that we both made on these plays, but that's to be expected, shaking off the rust on what's going on here. So yeah, but that's it for this week, guys. Again, next week should hopefully be on Showdown, and I am sorry that this battle was a little longer than normal, but yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Later.